Everyone take a deep breath with me. Today we're talking about Return to Silent Hill, the movie.
What did I just see? What did I just see?
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
So, it is opening night. It is January 23rd. I have been anticipating this movie for about 3 years now, okay? The remastered game came out of Silent Hill 2. I played it. I streamed it. It was amazing. Genuinely, Silent Hill 2 remastered remake was phenomenal. It was amazing. Everything was chef's kiss. I loved it. You know, I loved it. It was able to capture the isolation of Silent Hill and just being in that world and where you're completely alone pretty much. You feel helpless. There's lack of hope, hopeless. It's such a suffocating feeling with the fog and just the music that the remake had was amazing, right? It was great. Now the remake, I went to go watch it with my girlfriend. It was an experience to say the least. Now for starters, there was a guy behind us, literally right behind us, snoring. He fell asleep and he was freaking snoring through the movie. Would you believe it if I told you? Ridiculous. It was actually ridiculous. But I went to go watch it. It was all right. You know, I'm gonna be honest. It was all right. I think if you were going into this movie expecting a 1-to-1 copy of the games, well, you're already starting off on the wrong foot. I think if you're going into this, if you're gonna go watch the movie and you're going into this expecting pretty much the same exact story with the same exact scenes, with the same exact music, you're wrong. This is an adaptation of the second game of Silent Hill. It's not a 1-to-1 copy, and I understand that. But there were so many questionable decisions that was made during the filming and the writing of this movie that just I didn't really like. Of negative reviews on the movie. I saw somewhere where the movie was like 8% on Rotten Tomatoes or something. It could, I'll put the updated version on the screen right now. But I'm gonna be honest. It doesn't deserve that low of a rating. It wasn't terrible. I'm gonna be honest. I've seen a lot of people saying that the movie, for the non-Silent Hill fans, the movie isn't gonna be enjoyable. My girlfriend is a non-Silent Hill fan. She's never played the games. She's never seen them. But she enjoyed the movie. She thought it was good. She thought it was watchable. She wasn't bored. The pacing wasn't necessarily terrible during the movie. And she was interested on the mystery of this town where these monsters are at, right? Where James got a letter from his dead wife, Mary. And it was genuinely like captivating. It was interesting. I was trying to keep bias aside and my prior knowledge to the games aside during the movie. For a Silent Hill movie, for a video game adaptation, I was expecting worse. I'm gonna be honest. I was expecting a lot worse, like Silent Hill Revelation. We don't speak on that. But it was definitely nowhere near as bad as Silent Hill Revelation. I'm gonna be honest. So pros and cons with the movies. I think we'll start with the pros, okay? Because I feel like that'd be easier to talk about. So I loved the monster design on the creatures. I loved it. It was great. Some of these monsters genuinely look terrifying, and I haven't seen something like that in a different movie before, or like a show. Maybe I just suck at watching shows and movies, but I've never seen that. Like, there was this one scene, spoilers by the way, spoilers, warning. There was a scene where a mannequin doll like just twists to the side and it turns into like a skeleton type of thing. It was creepy looking. When it transformed, it was creepy looking, and they showed a very similar scene to where Pyramid Head is like, I don't know what he's doing. He's like destroying the mannequins on the table. We already clarified it wasn't SA, but he was literally beating the fuck out of the fucking monster in the movie. He's literally punching the fuck out of this monster. I really liked Laura, okay? I think the character of Laura did a really good job. And fun fact, the little girl that's playing Laura in the movie was the same little girl that was playing Laura in the remake. So that's probably why I really liked her. I think Laura in the remake was incredible. And the little girl was incredible in the movie as well, which is awesome. I actually love that. I think James, the character of James, he played his part. He played really well. That was a really good James. I was expecting worse. But I'm going to be honest. They should have just carried over everybody from the remake to the movie. Genuinely, they should have just done that. I would have loved seeing the James from the remake into the movie. I would have loved that. That would be so cool. But they didn't do that. I don't know. Maybe there's something behind the scenes that they decided not to do. But it would have been cooler. I'm gonna be honest. But it's fine. The actor that played James Sunderland did a really good job. Like, I'm sure he played his script really well. Like, they showed how James was battling with anger, with denial, with being an alcoholic, you know, and him needing therapy. Like, they really hammered that down, that he needed therapy. Because even when he was at Silent Hill, with the last remaining percentage of battery he had on his phone, he kept calling his therapist saying that he needs help or whatever, blah blah blah. He's looking for Mary. So they really hammered down that James has been going to therapy after the death of his wife, and you know, he's in denial, right? Which is the premise of the game, right? The game, he's pretty much in denial the entire time up until you get to the end, where, you know, he's shown what he did to Mary. But now, what I didn't like about the movie, they tried to make the ending super like sunshine and rainbows, which I didn't really like. The ending of the game is not supposed to be sunshine and rainbows. It's supposed to be a gut punch. It's supposed to be a gut-wrenching punch, so you feel the same way James felt. But the way that the movie did it was that Mary wanted to be killed by James. That Mary wanted freedom, to be liberated from pain, which, if I remember correctly in the game, that's not what happened. I don't think James wanted to, I don't think Mary wanted to die to just her husband's, you know, anger. The game really hammers down that Mary, you know, with being sick or whatever and being on her deathbed, started just neglecting James. You know, her physical health was decreasing, her mental state was decreasing, their romance was fading, like, and I think what pushed James to kill her was, in his own mind, he thought that was the right thing to do, not because it was encouraged by Mary. I genuinely don't think that. I could be wrong, right? Maybe I don't remember the games correctly, but I don't think Mary wanted to be killed by James. I genuinely don't think that. I think James just thought he was doing the right thing, and you know, between anger and just not wanting to see his wife suffer anymore, he does that on his own accord. But in the movie, Mary's like, oh, you know what you have to do. I want to be free. And she gets asphyxiated, not by a pillow, but by a hand rag. Literally, a little hand rag. Listen, could you be killed by that? I don't know. But there was a pillow right underneath Mary in the movie when she's on a deathbed. Just grab the pillow and put it over her. Like what happened in the games. At the end, like, James, like, wakes up after he, like, drives into the lake, right? He drives into the river and he drowns himself. He drives into the lake or the river and he drowns himself. In a body of water, he's drowning. He sees Mary's corpse because he brings it into his own car, and then, you know, he holds her hand and they die together. But she was already dead, but he dies with his dead wife. And then he wakes up again like it's Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise, and he gets to relive the beginning of the movie, which is where he met Mary at the bus stop. Where he met Mary, you know, in the movie he does. And then instead of driving to Silent Hill, he offers to drive Mary out of Silent Hill, out of town, so he gets a second chance at life and doesn't, you know, move into Silent Hill with Mary, and then the cult doesn't do what the cult does or whatever, and she gets poisoned and her, like, you know, and then they drive off, and I guess they live happily ever after. So he gets a second chance at life. So Silent Hill is a second chance at life and doing things over and doing things right? What? No. As far as I know, Silent Hill is quite literally hell on earth, to where you see what happens in your life. It's I would call it a purgatory, right? Silent Hill is like a version of a purgatory. But Mary's dead permanent. In the game, she's dead permanently. And James has been roaming Silent Hill, living the same thing over again for 20 years, constantly in denial of what he did to Mary. Again, but that only makes sense, right? Because all of the monsters in Silent Hill is his fucking punishment, his judgment for what he did when he was alive. But it only makes sense that he's living that life again. That's the loop in Silent Hill again and again. It only makes sense because he did it thinking he was doing the right thing, even though it was wrong. But in the movie, Mary encourages her own death, which makes no sense to the loop. Call me, am I going insane? Is that stupid? But I don't like that decision. Why not just have it a sad ending? Why does it need to be a happy ending? That's 2 for 2. Stranger Things and Silent Hill now, both franchises that I love, for whatever reason, have a terrible ending where it needs to be sunshine and rainbows and a happy ending. What is up with that? Kill people. Let people die in movies again. People need to start dying. There doesn't need to be James continuing to live, so maybe there's a potential chance for the next movie he's still alive, he makes a grand return. No, kill him off. I don't care. Kill off the characters in Stranger Things. I don't care. Just kill them off. Is that crazy to say? I'm losing my voice by yelling this shit. Like, this pissing me off. I waited years for this movie. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad either. I think this movie really failed to encapsulate the isolation that Silent Hill is. It really does fail to give that to you. It feels like a town that is still alive and there's still people living in that. You want to know why? Let me explain to you why it feels that way in that movie. And when you watch it, if you watched it, I know you feel the same way. And let me explain to you why mentally, just by like brain power, like by brain meats, why your brain, it just didn't feel like Silent Hill was isolated. Number one, because James is almost never alone in this town. He's almost never alone. Never. There's never the feeling of isolation that James is helpless and he's isolated. He's always with someone. Genuinely, like 85% to 90% of the movie, he is with somebody. Whether it be Laura, the random homeless person that he found on the street to get the radio from, whether it be Eddie. And on top of that, during the movie, once he like unlocked a new location, it would give you flashbacks on what life used to be like, okay? And it would show you like genuinely like 5 to 10 minute scenes of this cult, by the way, that isn't in the game of Silent Hill 2. The cult that was poisoning Mary and killing her slowly and literally eating her, right? Doing cult activities. But again, James isn't alone. There's people. And even before it transforms into the fucking orange world in the world, where the orange world where there's bugs and shit, right? Even then, James wakes up in Brookhaven Hospital. The nurses are treating him, but he's daydreaming. He looks out the window, he sees a woman, and then a bunch of moths cover the window. But again, he sees people outside, bro. James almost never felt like almost no like feeling of sorrow and like depression, really. Like, besides him being an alcoholic, like alcoholic equals depression, I guess. But he more so got mad. He just got angry and he like lost his shit and he lost his mind. And then he kills Maria, bro. He kills Maria. He fucking uses his domain expansion. He's in this like cobblestone maze where there's a bunch of paintings that he painted for Mary. And then he summons Maharaga, Pyramid Head, right? And he kills, well, Pyramid Head kills Maria. But James summons him. He's like, I don't need you anymore. I'm done playing with you. And then he fucking summons Pyramid Head, fucking Maharaga, and he literally slimes out, destroys Mary. Like, she got cooked. Keep in mind, shortly before this happens, they exchange a kiss. Like a couple kisses. Which doesn't happen in the games. As far as I'm concerned, James resisted temptation because he really missed his wife. Keyword wife. They weren't even married in the movie. They were dating. Bro, with all due respect, I am not going through all of that for my fucking girlfriend. Maybe I am. I don't know. I love my girlfriend. For me, the best 5 minutes of this movie was Angela with Abstract Daddy. Blows my mind that they actually did show that. But wow, like it was such a touchy subject, and they briefly hint at it earlier in the movie where Angela is like, oh, don't touch me, no one's gonna touch me ever again, and you know, with the knife in the room with the mirrors, which, you know, shows kind of more or less what she was going through. And then Abstract Daddy, bro, oh my gosh, if I could get a screenshot of the character design, dude, I didn't think it was possible to like outdo the remake on how they designed it. In the remake, it's just like the figurine of Abstract Daddy and Angela, like under the blankets. Here, they morphed the blanket into faces, and you could hear the moaning from like Abstract Daddy, and it just, it looks so nasty. It was nasty. It was like those 4 minutes for me, like inside my soul, knowing what was going on, like just the context of the terrible situation that Angela was in, bro. I was mixed with disgust by what I was seeing, by the sounds, but also rage and just feeling sorry for the girl, bro. That looked so. It looked good, like it not like it was. It's a good thing that happened. But the way they designed it, the sounds, the music, it was amazing. I just wish they expanded upon that, man. I wish there was a boss fight in there or something. That would have been so cool, but no, like he ends up just imploding, and I guess that was just a revelation on you know, it was just showing James about Angela. But the thing is, like, it was over in like 4 or 5 minutes, like. They just briefly pass over that, you know? And like, obviously if they briefly pass over that, the viewers are also going to briefly pass over that. That was the best design in your entire movie, and y'all literally glanced over it like it was nothing. There was no depth to the story. Y'all didn't even give James a boss fight or nothing. Wow, those 4 minutes, it did something to me. Like, that was disgusting. It was scary. It was good. Last thing, they revealed on the fucking tombstone of Mary, her full name is Mary Maria Laura Angela, some bullshit like that. So Mary was all four. Like this. Comment down below if you watched the movie, if you want to explain that for me. But the way I interpreted that, Mary in the movie is Laura, Angela, fucking Maria, like, and she's Mary. She's all four of them. Why the fuck is Angela Mary? And Angela looks like a crackhead in this movie. In the game, she's like a put-together girl with anxiety, but she has normal people clothes, and she doesn't look like a crackhead that does heroin. In the movie, she looks like she does crack. She looks stupid, like she looks insane. So yeah, I mean, that's about it. That's all I gotta say about the movie. It's just, I'm so disappointed, bro. I've been waiting on this movie for so long. I've been telling my girlfriend about it. I've been telling my parents about it. Like, oh my gosh. I was really going into this with high hopes. Am I let down? A little. Am I fully let down? No. Will I be rewatching when it comes out to DVD? Fuck yeah, I'm gonna be rewatching it. It's Silent Hill. Come on, lock in. I'm watching that shit again and again. But it could have been better, and I wanted more. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. God bless you guys, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace.